Hello, our main goal in this lesson is to determine the midpoints and find endpoints if we have a midpoint. Now first off, for midpoints we need to know what average is. Average is the middle of a set of numbers. Now usually what people mean by average is they use the mean. The mean is the total, uh, you add up all of the values and you divide it by the number of things that are in there. So if I want to find the average between the blue and the green dots, that's just the middle. So you might just look and say that answer is 4. Another way to get it is these are two dots and they can add up to 2 plus 6 is 8 divided by 2 and that gets you to 4. So if I want to find the average of the pink and the blue, that's 7 and 2, negative 7 and 2. That's a little bit harder. I bet it's somewhere in here. Uh, but if I add those, I get negative 5. Negative 5 divided by 2 is negative 2.5, which is right there. So the average is adding things up and dividing by how many it would be. So in this case, I would take x1 plus x2 and divide it by 2. That could find your middle. Now it gets a little bit more complex when we go from one-dimensional to two-dimensional. So if I wanted to find the midpoint here, I'd guess it would be somewhere there. It looks like it's about the middle. But let's try to figure it out. This point is negative 2, 2. And this point is 2, 4, 5. And I go up 2 for 5, 7, I believe. Now I need to find the average of this horizontal. And I also need to find the average of this vertical. And where they meet is going to be the midpoint. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take 2 and 5, negative 2 plus 5 divided by 2, and that's going to get me to, what's that, 3 over 2, that's 1.5. And now if I do that for the y value, 2 plus 7 and divide by 2, that's 9 over 2, which is 4.5. Now, it looks like I got pretty close. 1.5 to the right. 1, 2, 3, 4.5. So my guess was pretty accurate. But if we don't have a graph, this is how we'd do it. You'd add the x's and divide by 2, and add the y's and divide by 2. So a formula that we'd come up with is x1 plus x2 divided by 2, y1 plus y2 divided by 2. The average of the x's and the average of the y's. Now, if I want to find the midpoint between these points, I just look at my x's, 7 plus 3 over 2, and my y's, negative 4 plus negative 2 divided by 2. So what's that? 10 over 2 is 5, negative 6 over 2 is negative 3, and so my midpoint is 5, negative 3. Now there's a couple terms associated with this. Bisect is a segment, line, or plane that intersects a segment at its midpoint. Bisect is to cut in two. So that's what that is. Congruent, we've already talked about it. Two things are congruent if they have the same measure. All right.